Perfect. So adjectives, what are they then? They are a word that is used to modify a noun or a pronoun, right? And when we talk about this word, right, modify, what we mean is that it's a word meaning to describe the word. So we can describe the word, right? We can describe a noun, we can describe the pronoun. Or if we're not doing that, we can make it more definite, right? More definite. So in this case, it means more specific, right? And then it can do these two things, describe and making it more definite by answering. And we used 4 questions here. The first, what kind? So we can ask ourselves, in this case, what kind of house is it? It could be a stone house. We also ask, which one? Which customer is it? It's the next customer. We ask, how much? But we can also ask about how many. And those you tend to group them together. So if we go back to what kind, we said earlier, what house? It could be a stone house. We could ask ourselves about a river. What kind of river is it? Maybe it's a rushing river, right? Something going really quickly. We could say, what type of sheets do you have on your bed? Maybe they are Egyptian cotton. Really nice soft thread count. Maybe you are describing your dog. What kind of dog you have? Well, he's been running the whole day, so he's a tired dog. If we then go over to which one, we said, right, which customer, the next customer. That was the example we looked at earlier. But we could also ask ourselves or ask someone, which one and to which day are you here? Which day are you coming? Or which day do you have summer break? It could be maybe it's the first day. We could look at asking about a group of people, which people, and we could then, of course, point to them. We could say those people. Or even maybe you have some mangoes and someone wonders which mangoes, and you could say these mangoes, right? And then the same thing obviously applies with how much, how many. If we say how much or how many, let's say rings, you have rings. I can ask how many rings. Well, you can reply, of course, that you have 7 rings. Or we could wonder, oh, I'm thirsty. I really would like some water, right? How much water? I apologize. How much water? Just some. You don't need to be specific. Or you're describing all of the books you have from class, right? How many books did your English teacher assign you? They assigned way too many books. So if we then stick with these questions, we'll have a couple of practice problems we'll do together. And then on the screen, you'll get maybe 1 or 2 to do yourselves to see if you've understood. So in this case, we'll write out the question or the statement with a question, right? One of those adjective identifying questions. So if we take here, we'll take here we'll do it in green, the first one. 1, they sold. And here's our question, how many tickets? Which one is our question? Green for the which one show. We shall say then, maybe would it be correct here that they sold 50 tickets for the first show? And that would be okay, right? So we're describing in this case, right? Which show? The first show. How many tickets? They sold 50 tickets, right? And if we do, we'll do, yeah. I think maybe that's enough. So we'll go ahead and you'll now get, we'll do two. The first one can be then, even though we had already run how many laps around the track, we still had to run how many more? And we'll also go with the next one. The what kind paint livened up the what kind room? Good job. Well done on getting this far. We have now, we'll briefly touch on articles. And if we have a think, articles, not newspaper articles or anything like that, but articles regarding the parts of speech form of articles. And there are many more articles, but we typically find that the most frequently used adjectives actually are these little subdivisions called articles. And they are the words a and the. They're also, for example, the zero and null article, but we don't need to worry about that. So when we're talking a, and the, we actually can group these first two, a and an, into something we call indefinite articles. A and indefinite articles. And they're called this because they refer to any member of a general group, right? It's just a general group. So A, right? The in this case, right, the letter A. A. A is used before a word. Beginning with, do you remember? Beginning with a consonant sound. Consonant sound. While an, if a is before a consonant sound, an must be before with a vowel sound. Before a word beginning with a vowel sound, right? And those are normally A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y. But remember, there can be silent consonants, right? If, depending on where you're from, you might say an hippopotamus instead of a hippopotamus, right? Whether or not you sound out the H there. So if we do a couple of quick examples here, we could take, right, Uncle Bill wears an article, uniform to work, right? Uncle Bill wears, well, it has a vowel here, doesn't it? U is a vowel, but is it a vowel sound, right? Do you say uniform? No, you say uniform, right? Has a hard Y sound. So you almost say it like this, uniform, right? Something more like that. We could use phonetic spelling, but you have a Y sound, right? Like yes, or the similar sound. So in this case, it should be A, right? Because we have a consonant sound. What if we then take this one? We'll start instead. We'll have an article at the start of the sentence. So article, accident, stalled traffic for, and another article, hour. So then what about the first? Accident. That's definitely a vowel, right? And it's a vowel sound as well. So we use an, right? Yep. So we say an accident stalled traffic for a our, right? It has a vowel sound at the start, same way as hippopotamus if you don't say hippopotamus. So it's also and there. Then we have one left, right? We have one article left that we introduced at the start, don't we? The article the or the. And we'll use yellow here. And that we call a definite article, right? Definite article. So we have two here, don't we? We have these are indefinite articles, a and an. They're general. And we have the. That's a definite article. So the. The then, I apologize, that's the highlighter. Here we go. Green, there we go. The as an article then. That is a definite article, and that's because it refers to someone. Could be a person or an animal or that, or something in particular. In particular. There we go. So if we have a sentence, right, such as the astronaut appeared home aboard the shuttle. In this case, right, we have a specific astronaut. It's not a astronaut. It's the astronaut. It's that specific astronaut. And it's not just any shuttle. It's the shuttle. So there might have been context before this where you had said maybe that it was the Mercury shuttle, or maybe it was the SpaceX shuttle that just went up. And therefore you've introduced it as a specific shuttle. So we're keeping it specific. It's a particular shuttle. It's the shuttle. It's the astronaut. Then apart from those articles as a special type of adjective, we have one more group before we take some more practice. And those are adjectives that we call demonstrative. Demonstrative adjectives. I'm just going to quickly check everything's recording. Yes, it is still going. Perfect. So with demonstrative adjectives, you can sort of think of these words as pointer ones. So these are words you're familiar with already. So for example, this, that, these, those, they can be used as adjectives, right? But you also recognize these as pronouns. So when is it which? Well, when we modify, remember, nouns or pronouns, then they're adjectives. And then we call them in that purpose, right? So when we're modifying, there's that word again, modify, nouns or pronouns, then we call them demonstrative adjectives, those words. So if we take here, we'll give an example of the word this, and we'll use that as well. So if we have here the case of it as an adjective, right? So then it's modifying a noun or pronoun. Then it could be, did Sarah win this trophy or that one? Right, so it's a conversation you're having with someone and you're pointing to a trophy and you're holding up one and you're pointing to the other, right? Did Sarah win this trophy or did she win that one? Then, right, this is modifying the word trophy, right? And that is modifying the word one. So we have trophy, which is the noun, and we have one here, right, which is a pronoun, right? Modifying. But if we instead have it in the apologize. If we instead have it as the pronoun form, then it could be as simple as almost the same sentence, right? Did Sarah win this or that. And in this case, right, there's nothing after, right? So there is no modifying, therefore now it's taken the form of a pronoun. And we'll give you here a sentence to follow. And we'll try to there to see if you can identify whether or not the word, and I'll write them down, right? You'll get it on your screen as well. You're looking at these now, two words, these and the word those. So in the sentence that's on your screen next, is these and those the pronoun form or the adjective form? Good job. That is about it for adjectives in general. I just want to emphasize one thing about adjectives in sentences. Adjectives in sentences, right? Adjectives are almost always going to be in sentences. But it's remember that an adjective can come before or after, right? It doesn't always need to be before. It can be after the word it modifies, right? Can come before or after the word it modifies. So in this case, I'll write down, it'll be a slightly bigger sentence, but it's so you can really see how they'll align up, and I'll try to leave some space between it. Each one of us brought used books for the auction. And we'll have one here. The blouse, once bright, now looks faded. So first off, can we identify the adjectives? In the first sentence, each one of us brought used books for the auction. Each one. Well, we have each. That's an adjective. Each one of us brought used books. Used is an adjective for the auction. Okay, so those are the adjectives, right? So in this case, the, right, it's an article, but it's yes, it's describing the auction, but in this case, we're going to focus more on irregular adjectives. So each one, each describes one, doesn't it? The same way that used here is describing books. But if we look at the next sentence, we have bright, don't we? Bright is an adjective. We know that's describing something, and faded. But they're both describing blouse, aren't they, right? And in this case, they both come after. It's just important that depending on the sentence structure, you remember they can come after. You'll now get a couple more practice problems. Here we want to then identify adjectives and the words they modify. And when you feel you've got a hang of it, there should be 2 or 3, go ahead and give the worksheet that I posted in the classroom a go. And that one should be titled, if I'm not entirely mistaken, something along the lines of POS, right? Parts of speech, adjectives, and maybe the adjectives of that, but you'll see it there. And as always, if you have questions, send me an email and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can. Thank you for having listened, and good work on making it through.